my sweet friends, and welcome to Adventures in World Building Episode 2. In case you haven't heard, or this is your first video of mine that you are watching, welcome also, but I started a new vlog series called Adventures in World Building, where I'm going to be taking y'all along with me as I world build Project Orion, and each episode is going to cover a different aspect of world building. So for example, episode 1, which I will link above and down below, we covered settings and locations, and today we're going to be working on government and religion. I'm so excited about this because that's what you think of when you think of like your typical world building stuff. You always think about like the government and like the religion. It's all very like, it's the foundations of the society that the characters live in. And I actually feel like out of the 6 episodes that are going to be in this series, this one is the one that I have the most for Project Orion already like figured out. Not to say we're not going to be doing work in this episode, because we are, because we have so much to work on, but this is the one that I've probably fleshed out the most, and I've probably had the most fun with as well, besides the map making. If you like making maps, go watch episode 1 because I spent so much time making maps and it was so much fun. Also, disclaimer, this is by no means going to be a how-to video. This series is not meant to be a very professional how-to. This is just sort of my process. Basically like my regular writing vlogs, except we're working on world building, and it's going to be just a little more detailed into like my process and how I do things, and that's going to be different for every story. I'm working on Project Orion, and that's also why we're not really starting from the like ground floor when it comes to world building, because Project Orion, I'm going into draft 3. I already have a lot of this stuff figured out, but I do need to flesh out my world building stuff a lot more, which is why we're doing this series. So I'm going to take you over here to my computer, and we are going to read the to-do list for this episode. So in this episode of Adventures in World Building, we're going to be covering government and religion. And so my little to-do list / plan for today, or however many days this episode takes place in, we're going to be working on the groundwork of basic government, the North Rim Watch, the Order of the First Spark, come up with counterpart to the Order of the First Spark and what do they believe, and Ankaisa's cult and what do they believe. So I'm going to go into more detail on all of these once we actually get into them, but that was just laying out what we're doing. That's the schedule for today. But real quickly, before we begin, I wanted to talk to y'all about something, and I'm actually going to move it over here because the lighting is so much better. I wanted to tell y'all about a really exciting opportunity that I think so many of y'all will love. I am partnering with the Sad Girls Club Literary Blog to promote their new poetry contest going on right now. Submissions are open right now, and they close on November 15th. So if you're interested in doing that, they're accepting poetry of all sorts. The winner does receive $250, which is a lot of money, but it's also just a really exciting opportunity, and I think a lot of y'all will really like it, and I would love for one of y'all to win it. I'm going to leave all their links in the description below. They have all their guidelines for submissions on their website, so if you have any questions, please feel free, go over there, follow them on Instagram also. All that's going to be in the description. But yeah, if you're interested, it's a really cool opportunity, and I would love for one of y'all to win. Alright, we are going to start on our first order of business for today, and I think I'm actually going to start with the very first point, which is the groundwork of the basic government, because this is probably the point that I have the most information figured out. The lighting in this area, I'm like in the corner too, so the light is never good over here. I do apologize. So I'm going to start by just opening up all the documents that I have on Scrivener for just any of the existing information that I already have for the government part. I don't think I'll have to spend too much time on this. I do need to finalize a lot of the details, but I do have the very like general framework for the government and how it works and stuff like that. So it's a parliamentary monarchy, so there's like a queen or a king who is, as I've kind of been calling them, either king or queen, or like sovereign or potentate, but I don't know, that one's a weird word, so like I'm kind of sticking with king or queen or like sovereign. There's also like ministries in charge of different things. I like the idea of councils presiding over certain aspects of government. So I've got these like ministries, which are like directly under the king or queen, and they like, the king or queen gets to appoint the minister of each ministry. And then there are, so the minister's appointed, and then there's a chief and a deputy, which are elected, I think. This is what I mean. I need to work on like some of the little details, but I have like the ministries, I think there's 10 of them. Security, health, homeland, foreign affairs, industry and development, science and technology, transportation, truth and justice, labor, and education. Wow, I just like, it sounds so fancy when you put it like that. So basically, I do have a lot of this information. So I'm not starting from scratch for a lot of these points. Like the North Rim Watch, that's sort of the police force. And then there's some other things that I have very little information about, but the basic government and the North Rim Watch, I do have a lot of information for those, so it's going to be working on fleshing out the details and making sure everything kind of makes sense. And then the second half of the to-do list, those are dealing with religion. So it's almost 12:30 right now. I have some leftover chips and salsa from Chili's because I need to eat lunch because I am actually doing a live stream at 1, so in about 35 minutes with Sarah LeBrat on her channel. Obviously by the time this goes up, it's gonna be done, but go check out her channel because she's really cool. So I need to eat lunch, and I don't actually know what I'm gonna eat because the chips and salsa isn't really a meal, but I need to eat and start to kind of get ready, figure out what I'm doing for the stream, because I honestly don't know, because honestly last night at like midnight inspiration struck and I was like, I'm gonna write a first draft. I need to write a first draft of something, because I haven't drafted anything in a while, because I had draft 2 of Project Orion, but I finished that like back in February, and then I tried to do camp and I was so busy that I didn't really get much done. And so literally last night, I was like, I need to draft something. I was like, what if I just do a first draft of some other random story but before NaNoWriMo starts? Which, I don't know if I'm doing that, but I wrote like over 1,000 words for a random story I started like 2 years ago in like an hour. So I was like, okay. But I'm not doing that today because we are working on world building. Okay, so I finished lunch and now I'm just waiting on the stream. It's going live in 10 minutes. So I'm going to put together just a little to-do list for what I'm going to be doing during the stream. Okay, so I'm going to be working on the government portion. If I finish that, then I'll move on to the religion portion. But I just want to work out the details, like I was saying, about the government, and also specifically, so there's like the countrywide government, and then each town, I think what I was doing was like each town or city has its own little like board of some sort, I don't know. And then the North Rim Watch, which is like the police force, that also encompasses like criminal activity and justice and how criminals are defined, like what breaking the law is, how are they punished, basically what the justice system is, and how that affects Orion and the characters since they are like bounty hunters. And so also just defining the relationship between pirates slash bounty hunters and the police force. And I don't want to like talk about things too much. I don't want to go into detail about these things because I know the relationship between bounty hunters and the police force, except I don't want to like, I don't know, I don't want to give away too much information about my story in this, but I think that's what I'm going to be working on during the stream. And then if I finish that in time, like, and I still have time left, I'm going to move on to like the religion side of things, which was the second part of what I was reading earlier, the Order of the First Spark, come up with counterpart to them, and then Caius's cult, because Caius, the antagonist, is sort of a cult leader, not in any like specific terms, but that's kind of like what his followers are kind of known as, because it's very radical. They have very radical beliefs, and some of this also, like the Order of the First Spark, that's a religious group in the very rough history that I have been working on over the past few months. They came about, and this was where like I've got to like make some decisions on how things are gonna go, because it was a religious group based around either steam power and fire, because this is, well, it started a lot more steampunk, but this is like a pseudo steampunk novel, and so that was based around fire and steam power, which is a large part of how things are powered in the story, or if it was based around the discovery of Aldurium, which is this resource, and I was actually talking about this in the last episode, but it's this resource that is like a really big deal in this world, and it was kind of, it made this big industrial boom, and so it was kind of the idea of like the first spark of like human ingenuity. But I'm actually going to get my notes and stuff out, lay everything out, get ready, because it starts in 5 minutes, and I should probably like get set up. Also, yes, in case anyone noticed, I did get a new desk. The other one was just kind of too small, but here, I'll show y'all. There she is. She's just a lot bigger, like this way. The other one was really thin. This is the other one, actually. It's now Gavin's desk, but see, it's just a lot thinner, and this one's a lot bigger, so I am excited. Alright everyone, we are in the middle of a stream right now, and it's a lot of fun, by the way. We're talking about video games and stuff, but we're in the middle of a sprint right now, and I just finished the government stuff. I believe most of it, like I said, I had a lot of it already figured out, but so the main thing I worked on within the government aspect of it was the Watch, aka the Watchers, and basically how criminals are punished and how criminal activity is viewed in society and stuff like that. Because my main issue was, before the book started, there was like a big overthrow of the government, and this really corrupt guy, which is Caius, stole the throne, and after that he has been, the crime and punishment justice system of it was a lot more intense, and so I basically had to make sure I had the relationship between that and what it used to be before Caius took over, and just kind of made sure that made sense and like fit together. So now I'm going to be working on sort of the religious side of the government and religion, and I'm going to start with the Order of the First Spark, which, as I was saying, is this religious group, and I don't have all the details worked out, and I'm about to go through my notes again because I was brainstorming stuff for them. This was like a few months ago, and I haven't revisited those notes in a few months, so right now I'm just going to go look through those notes again and try to get a solid backstory for it, because there's the Order of the First Spark, and then there was another religious group that was basically their counterpart, or like the opposite of it. They kind of believe different things, and it's the cause of a lot of tension, and those beliefs of those groups sort of, it relates to Caius and his following, and what they believe. Okay, so we are still in the stream right now. We're doing our last sprint, but in the last sprint we did, when I was talking, I got a lot of stuff done for the Order of the First Spark, which, by the way, isn't that such a cool name? I love that name so much, and I can't even take credit for it because that was all Gavin. I remember, this was like months ago, and we were on the phone. We had like a 4-hour-long phone call, and it was just me like bouncing off ideas about Project Orion and like talking through things, and he was just helping me with like talking through issues and like working out so much of the kinks. And he's actually the one who came up with the name, the Order of the First Spark, and I was like, oh my god, you are a genius. Anyway, so I wrote some notes about it, and I was It's such a bittersweet feeling because while I was writing those notes, I was like, it's flowing so well. It felt like everything was just coming to me and it fell right into place. Everything just clicked. And I was like, finally, like, great. We have all this information and it was so easy. And then within like the last like 30 seconds to a minute of the sprint, I went and I looked at the timeline that I had made, and it's a really rough timeline, but it's basically just the history of Northrem. And it completely contradicted what I had just written. Just like the timing was sort of off. So right now I'm gonna go through and work out those issues and try to make everything flow better, because I really like the ideas that I had written down, but I need it to fit. But I can always change the timeline because it's like super rough and not fleshed out at all. It was just like these events, but like one of them is a really cool idea, and so I want it to fit, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. Hi, it's only been like 30 seconds. I was just doing some thinking and I was looking over it, and I feel like there's an easy way to fix this. And so basically the thing is, in the timeline I had written at this one point, there's this steam boom, and it's basically like the Industrial Revolution, and after they had created the steam engine, which is what a lot of the things are based on because it's a pseudo steampunk novel. And so I really liked that idea, and so that was in the timeline. And then I had just written in the notes that basically steam was already a thing, and then there was a civil war which led to the settling of Northrem, because like I said, if you watch the last one, we made the other country, Valaskar, and there was a civil war in Valaskar between the Order of the First Spark and this other not named group. And so then the First Spark people went to Northrem because they were all like, yay, steam, we love steam, nothing else is good. So steam was already a thing, and that's basically what led to the discovery of Northrem. But now that I'm looking at the timeline, they had discovered Northrem, and then the steam boom happened later. So now I have to like rework that and make sure that fits. I think what I could do is just move the steam boom to a lot earlier and have it happen in Valaskar before they left to Northrem. Basically just keeping the notes and the history that I just made, and then just adjusting the timeline because of it. I think that's gonna work. I just like the idea of the steam boom happening in Northrem, but I guess it makes more sense for it to have already happened, because then after steam it's gonna be Aldurium, and that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, so I'm gonna sit here and try to figure that out and make it make sense because I really like it. Hi. This is the first time I've talked today. Hi everyone, it's a few days later, haven't done anything, what's new? Oh man, I just realized I haven't even like marked anything out of what I have done in the last few days. Groundwork of basic government, Northrem Watch, Order of the First Spark, done. So we are gonna mark that out. And what we have left is come up with a counterpart to OFS, what do they believe, and then Caius's cult, and what do they believe. And those go together, and I have some information, again, like everything. I just have to flesh out some of these ideas and make sure they are working together, because the counterpart to the Order of the First Spark is going to be what Caius is not. I got that confused for a second. So basically, Caius's cult and what they believe, I think I've already got that actually. Yeah, I have a whole paragraph of that right here, and a little arrow drawn up here. So I already have that one actually. I just have to finish the counterpart to the Order of the First Spark. So basically what I did, or like what I'm deciding on, let me mark this out. Okay. The Order of the First Spark was the steam boom stuff that I was talking about. And they basically, it was this idea that steam is better, and then it kind of, big companies and monopolies started kind of abusing it and twisting it to be like, steam is superior, everything else is evil, basically. So when they had found Aldurium, which is the big resource that I was mentioning before, which does become a major player in books 2 and 3, and I need to incorporate it more in book 1. But when Aldurium is discovered and like its power is like it's like super great and powerful, there's a big push against it because they don't want to use that because people want to use steam. But this was like hundreds of years ago. So now Aldurium is kind of commonplace. The steam is sort of seen as outdated. They're not really followed as much, and like the Order of the First Spark is like this old, it's kind of like a thing of the past almost. But Caius's cult is trying to bring it back, and they want to bring steam back again. They're pushing this idea that Aldurium is evil and all this stuff. At least that's what I have right now. I feel like I changed my mind so much, and I just want it to, I really want it to sound like, so the Order of the OFS, as I will call it, is like this older, outdated group. It still has members, but it's kind of seen as like a fringe group. And I really want Caius to, he gains his following through appealing to these members, these fringe group members. And I really want him to push this idea and like let them know that they're right and everyone else is wrong. And I also kind of want it to be, I want there to be some sort of like an air of hypocrisy, whereas we see Caius behind closed doors. He doesn't actually really care about the steam and the OFS and its followers, but he knows that that is his way to power. But he sees this group that had the upper hand for so long and they miss that power. And so I want that to be kind of his thing, is like he appeals to this group who feel wronged by the new technologies and advancements and all this stuff. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. It's history. I mean, this is our history, so. Anyway, so I have the counterpart to the OFS, and I have already started to work on this from before, and basically their whole thing, I want it to just kind of be the opposite. So it was steam for a long time, they discovered Aldurium, and it basically like helped them win the war. There's like this whole thing. I'll get into that. Sneak peek, next video is history and timeline, so we're going to talk all about this in the next episode. But they basically believe that it is their God-given right to advance science and technology, and they basically did a 180 after the discovery of Aldurium. Like the normal person, it was steam, and then they were like, whoa, there's this all this untapped power. And so then this group came about saying it is their God-given right to advance science and technology, and humanity needs to, you know, push further. It's really science driven. So that's what I have right now. Again, I am notorious for changing my mind all the time on things because I'm a very indecisive person. But this is what I have, and the only last bullet point that I have for this episode is come up with a counterpart to OFS, which is that. So I think I'm gonna sit here and just like flesh it out. Oh, before I forget, by the time this goes up, it will be announced, so it's fine. I'm doing a stream later, and so later today, while I'm doing the stream, there's an upload is going up, and it's actually episode 1 of Adventures in Worldbuilding. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But that's going up, which I'm just so excited about because I've been hyping it up so much. I'm so bad at like hyping things up like way prematurely. But that's going up, and I just hit 5K, which is just crazy to me, and I thank you so much. It's a ridiculous. I have more subscribers now than the town that I grew up in, and I would not be here without y'all. And so, in honor of 5K and to show my love for y'all, also today at 5 o'clock when I am uploading this video and I'll be live streaming, I am opening a Discord. I've been working so hard on creating a Discord server that's not just the Adele Discord server, but it's a community for writers, and I have spent so much time. I have never been a mod before. I have never hosted a Discord server before. Well, no, I've hosted one before, but never to this extent. So I am really excited, and I hope y'all like it. I want it to be a nice, safe, positive environment for writers and creators of all types, and I'm really excited about it, and I think it's going to be a good way also for me to interact with y'all on just a more personal level. So it should actually be linked in the description of this video since it will have been announced by the time this goes up. But yeah, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and I hope y'all like this and enjoy it and use it. Anyway, yes, I'm gonna sit here, we're gonna flesh out more of the stuff. Also, I was kind of thinking that, so these were originally, when I had first brainstormed like the Order of the First Spark and all this stuff months ago, it was gonna be more of a religious group, and I feel like maybe there are religious aspects of it, but it's also missing the kind of the core like belief in like the supernatural and prayer and worship and all that stuff. So I don't know if I should rework that in a way or just kind of leave it as these like two warring sort of groups on two different sides of science, basically. Science, that has to do with religion, kind of. People argue with, it's fine, we'll say they're religions. Okay, so I just finished doing the counterpart to the Order of the First Spark. I don't know what I'm gonna call it yet. I am having a hard time coming up with some names, so I think during the stream I'm gonna ask some of y'all for some name suggestions and also talk to Gavin because he's really good at coming up with names for things apparently. But I was just working out a few more details, trying to fit it into the timeline that I have so far, but again, we're not gonna go too much into that in this video because in the next video we are going to be going all over history and timelines and making those for your world. So in that video we're going to be able to tie everything together in a much better way. But yeah, if you have any name suggestions for this group, please comment down below, let me know. But other than that, I just finished everything that was on the to-do list for episode 2, so I'm gonna end it here. I hope some of this helped with government and religion. Again, it's not really a how-to video, but I do hope it gave you some inspiration and also just a better look into how I do things. Please join the Discord. I'm gonna have the link in the description below. I'm so excited about it. By the time this video goes up, it'll have been up for like a week, so I hope people are in it and enjoying it and liking it. But yeah, link in the description. Also, like I said at the beginning of the video, the Sad Girls Club literary blog is having a poetry competition right now. Link in the description. I think you guys will really love it, and there is a cash prize. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.